Right now, as you watch this video, something extraordinary is unfolding in the invisible architecture of the universe. Tomorrow, March 16, marks a moment that astrologers and spiritual practitioners have been tracking for months. A rare convergence of cosmic forces that opens what ancient wisdom traditions call portal of divine providence. This is not just another day on the calendar. This is the moment when the universe positions a secret benefactor to enter your life and fundamentally alter your reality. Your encounter with this message is not random. Out of millions of possible moments, your attention was drawn here, to these exact words, at this precise time. That is the first sign. The universe has been preparing you for what's about to unfold, and whether you consciously recognize it or not, your soul has been sensing the approach of this transformation. Perhaps you felt a strange restlessness lately, an inexplicable anticipation, or a quiet knowing that something significant is about to shift. That feeling is real. It's your intuition detecting the energetic waves that precede major life changes. Before we go deeper into what March 16 holds for you, I want you to do something right now. Take a moment to acknowledge your presence here. Comment below and write, "I am ready to receive." This simple act of declaration is more powerful than you might realize. When you speak your readiness into existence, you create an energetic signature that the universe recognizes and responds to. You're essentially sending a signal that says, "I am open, I am aware, and I am prepared for what's coming." This alignment of intention with cosmic timing is what transforms passive observation into active manifestation. Now, let's talk about what makes March 16 so profoundly different from any other day. In astrology, there are moments when multiple planetary forces converge in ways that create what we call cosmic gateways. These are not merely symbolic events. They represent actual shifts in the energetic field that surrounds and influences human experience. Tomorrow, 3 specific astrological factors align in a pattern that hasn't occurred in this exact configuration for over 18 years. The Sun moves into a precise degree that activates the axis of fortune and destiny. Venus, the planet governing abundance, relationships, and material blessings, forms a harmonious trine with Jupiter, the great Benefactor known as the bringer of luck and expansion. And perhaps most significantly, the North Node, which represents your soul's evolutionary path and karmic destiny, receives a powerful activation from Mars, the planet of action and manifestation. What does this mean in practical terms? It means the universe is creating a window of opportunity so potent that what normally takes years to develop can crystallize in a matter of days. It means that help you didn't even know you needed is being positioned to arrive. It means that a person, an opportunity, or a circumstance that will fundamentally change your trajectory is being guided toward you through channels you cannot yet see. This is the essence of the secret benefactor, an agent of transformation whose arrival in your life appears sudden but has actually been orchestrated by forces far beyond ordinary coincidence. Throughout history, every culture has recognized these moments of divine intervention. The ancient Greeks called it kairos, the supreme moment when time itself becomes pregnant with possibility. Eastern traditions speak of the concept of yuan fen, the invisible thread that connects people and events across time and space, drawing them together at the exact moment when their meeting will create the greatest transformation. In Western mysticism, this is understood as grace, the unearned blessing that arrives precisely when the soul is ready to receive it, even if the conscious mind doesn't yet understand why. The secret benefactor is not always a person, though it often manifests that way. Sometimes it's an unexpected opportunity that appears out of nowhere. Sometimes it's a piece of information that reaches you at exactly the right moment. Sometimes it's a sudden shift in circumstances that removes an obstacle you've been struggling against for years. The defining characteristic is this: it arrives without your direct effort, yet it feels perfectly timed, as if the universe has been watching your journey and decided, Now is the moment to intervene. Many of you watching this have been through a difficult period. Perhaps you've been working tirelessly toward a goal that seems perpetually out of reach. Perhaps you've been carrying a burden alone, wondering when relief will come. Perhaps you've been making sacrifices, staying faithful to your path, even when external evidence suggested you should give up. If any of this resonates, I need you to understand something crucial. Every moment of that struggle has been building toward what's about to happen. The universe doesn't waste experiences. Every challenge you've faced has been refining you, preparing you to recognize and receive the blessing that's approaching. You've been in a period of cosmic preparation, and March 16 marks the transition from preparation to manifestation. Let me share something that will help you understand the deeper mechanics at work here. In spiritual traditions around the world, there's a recognition that the universe operates through cycles of contraction and expansion. There are periods when life feels difficult, when doors seem closed, when progress feels impossible. These are not punishments. They are compression phases, moments when energy is being gathered and concentrated. Think of it like a bow being drawn back before an arrow is released. The further back the bow is pulled, the more powerful the arrow's flight will be. If you've been in a period of contraction, of struggle, of feeling stuck, that energy is about to be released. And when it releases, the momentum will carry you further than you could have traveled through effort alone. The astrological alignment on March 16 represents the moment when that bow is released. Venus trine Jupiter is one of the most fortunate aspects in all of astrology. Venus governs what we value, what we attract, and what brings us pleasure and abundance. Jupiter expands everything it touches, magnifying potential into reality. When these two planets form a harmonious trine, they create a golden pathway for blessings to flow. This is not subtle energy. This is the universe rolling out a red carpet and saying, "Walk this way." Everything you need is being provided. People born under this aspect are often described as naturally lucky, as if good fortune simply finds them. On March 16, that same energy becomes available to everyone, but especially to those who are aware of it and consciously align themselves with its frequency. At the same time, Mars is activating the North Node in a way that brings destiny into sharp focus. The North Node represents your soul's purpose, the direction your life is meant to move toward for maximum growth and fulfillment. Mars is the planet of action, courage, and forward momentum. When Mars touches the North Node, it's as if the universe reaches down and physically pushes you onto your destined path. Opportunities that align with your deeper purpose suddenly become visible. People who can help you advance appear seemingly out of nowhere. Circumstances shift in ways that remove barriers and create openings. This is not passive energy. This is the cosmos actively intervening to move you forward. Now, here's where it gets even more interesting. The sun's position on March 16 places it at a degree that ancient astrologers called the gate of fortune. In traditional astrology, certain degrees of the zodiac were considered especially powerful, points where the veil between the material and spiritual worlds becomes thin. The gate of fortune is one of these points. When the sun, which represents your core identity and life force, passes through this degree, it illuminates hidden pathways and reveals opportunities that were previously invisible. It's as if a spotlight suddenly turns on, and you can see doors that were always there but remained hidden in shadow. What makes this even more powerful is the timing. We are approaching the spring equinox, a moment of perfect balance between light and dark. A cosmic reset point that has been honored by cultures worldwide for thousands of years. The equinox represents new beginnings, the triumph of light over darkness, the return of growth and vitality after a period of dormancy. March 16 falls in the energetic window of the equinox, which means it carries that same quality of renewal and fresh starts. This is not just about receiving a blessing. This is about stepping into a completely new chapter of your life, one where the rules that governed your past no longer apply. So who is this secret benefactor? How will you recognize them when they appear? The answer is both simple and profound. The secret benefactor is whoever or whatever the universe sends to catalyze your next level of growth. For some of you, it will be a person, someone who sees your potential and opens a door you couldn't open yourself. This might be a mentor who takes you under their wing, a business partner who believes in your vision, a romantic connection that transforms your understanding of love, or even a stranger whose brief intervention changes everything. For others, the benefactor will be an opportunity, a job offer that seems too good to be true, an investment that pays off beyond expectations, a creative breakthrough that launches your work into visibility, or a sudden resolution to a problem that's been plaguing you for years. The key characteristic of the secret benefactor is this: their arrival will feel both surprising and inevitable. Surprising because you didn't see it coming through ordinary channels. Inevitable because once it happens, you'll look back and recognize all the small signs and synchronicities that were pointing toward this moment. You'll realize that the universe has been orchestrating this meeting for far longer than you knew. Every seeming detour, every closed door, every disappointment that redirected your path, all of it was positioning you to be in exactly the right place at exactly the right time to receive what's coming. There's a beautiful concept in quantum physics that mirrors this spiritual understanding. Scientists have discovered that at the subatomic level, particles exist in a state of potential until they are observed. The act of observation collapses the wave function and brings a specific reality into being. In other words, reality is not fixed until consciousness interacts with it. This is not mysticism. This is established science, and it has profound implications for how we understand manifestation and divine intervention. Your awareness of the March 16 portal, your conscious intention to receive, your willingness to believe that help is coming. These are not passive mental states. They are active forces that shape which version of reality crystallizes around you. This is why your presence here, watching this video, matters so much. You are not learning about an event that will happen to you regardless of your awareness. You are participating in the creation of that event through your attention and intention. The universe responds to consciousness. When you become aware of a cosmic opening, when you align your energy with that opening, you dramatically increase the probability that the potential blessing will manifest in your specific reality. This is the difference between people who seem to stumble into good fortune and people who struggle despite working just as hard. It's not about worthiness. It's about alignment. It's about being tuned to the right frequency at the right moment. Let me give you a real example of how this works. Several years ago, during a similar cosmic alignment, I worked with a woman who had been trying to launch her business for 3 years. She had the skills, the passion, and the work ethic, but nothing was gaining traction. She was exhausted, discouraged, and on the verge of giving up. Then, during a Venus-Jupiter trine similar to the one happening tomorrow, she attended a networking event she almost didn't go to. She was tired. She didn't feel like socializing, but something, she later described it as an inexplicable pull, made her show up anyway. At that event, she had a brief conversation with someone who turned out to be exactly the connection she needed. This person introduced her to an investor, who not only funded her business but became a long-term mentor. Within 6 months, her entire reality had transformed. When she looked back, she could see all the small synchronicities that lead to that moment. The friend who insisted she attend the event, the traffic that made her arrive at exactly the right time, even the fact that she chose to stand in a particular spot where this person would notice her. That is the secret benefactor in action. It doesn't announce itself with trumpets. It arrives through what appears to be ordinary circumstances. But those circumstances are anything but ordinary. They are precisely orchestrated moments of divine intervention. And they happen most powerfully during cosmic windows like the one opening tomorrow. Now, not part of yourselves. I want to address something that might be stirring in your mind right now. You might be thinking, this sounds too good to be true. How can I trust that something will actually happen? This skepticism is natural, and I'm not going to ask you to blindly believe. Instead, I'm going to show you the evidence that's already present in your life. Signs that the secret benefactor is already moving toward you, even if you haven't consciously recognized them yet. Over the past few weeks, you've likely experienced what I call pre-arrival signals. These are subtle shifts in your reality that indicate a major change is approaching. Have you noticed an increase in synchronicities? Perhaps you've been thinking about someone and they suddenly contact you. Maybe you keep seeing the same numbers repeatedly, or hearing the same song in different places. These are not random occurrences. They are the universe's way of getting your attention, of saying, pay attention, something is shifting. Another common pre-arrival signal is vivid dreams. Many people report having unusually clear or symbolic dreams in the weeks leading up to a major life change. These dreams often contain messages or guidance, even if their meaning isn't immediately obvious. If you've been experiencing this, your subconscious mind is already tuning into the energetic shift that's occurring. You might also have noticed changes in your emotional state. Perhaps you've felt an inexplicable sense of anticipation, a feeling that something is about to happen even though you can't point to any logical reason for that feeling. Or maybe you've experienced sudden clarity about a situation that's been confusing you for months. These emotional shifts are your intuition responding to changes in the energetic field around you. Your soul knows what's coming before your conscious mind does. It's already preparing you to receive what's approaching. Some of you may have experienced what feels like a final test or challenge in recent days. This is actually one of the most reliable signs that a breakthrough is imminent. The universe often presents what appears to be one last obstacle right before a major blessing arrives. This isn't cruelty. It's a final calibration, a way of ensuring you're truly ready for what's coming. Think of it like the pressure that builds right before a dam breaks. That pressure is necessary for the breakthrough to occur. If you've been facing an unexpected challenge or setback in the past week, don't interpret it as a sign that things are going wrong. It's actually evidence that you're on the threshold of something significant. Let me share another real example that illustrates this perfectly. I once worked with a man who had been searching for his life partner for over a decade. He'd been through multiple relationships that didn't work out, and he was beginning to lose hope. Then, during a cosmic alignment similar to tomorrow's, he experienced what felt like a devastating setback. A relationship he thought had potential ended abruptly, leaving him feeling more alone than ever. He was ready to give up entirely on finding love. But 3 days later, through a series of circumstances that seemed almost absurdly coincidental, he met the woman who would become his wife. She was someone who had been in his extended social circle for years, but they'd never actually met because their paths had never crossed at the right time. The breakup he experienced wasn't a setback at all. It was the universe clearing space for the right person to enter. Within a year, they were married. 5 years later, he told me that he couldn't imagine his life with anyone else, and he was grateful for every failed relationship that led him to that moment. This is how the secret benefactor often works. What appears to be a closing door is actually the universe making room for a much better door to open. The timing is never random. Everything is orchestrated with precision that our limited human perspective can't fully comprehend in the moment. It's only when we look back that we see the perfect logic of how events unfolded. Now, let's talk about what you need to do to maximize your receptivity to what's coming. This is crucial because while the cosmic forces are creating the opportunity, your conscious participation determines how fully you can receive it. The first and most important thing is to clear space in your life, both literally and energetically. Look around your physical environment. Is it cluttered? Is it filled with objects that represent your past rather than your future? The state of your external environment reflects and influences your internal state. When you clear physical clutter, you're sending a message to the universe that you're ready for something new to enter. You're creating a vacuum that the universe will naturally move to fill. But physical clearing is just the beginning. You also need to clear energetic space. This means releasing attachments to outcomes that are no longer serving you. Many people block their blessings because they're so fixated on how they think things should unfold that they can't recognize the blessing when it arrives in a different form. The secret benefactor rarely shows up exactly as you imagined. If you're holding rigid expectations about what help should look like or where it should come from, you might miss it entirely when it appears. This is why surrender is so important. Surrender doesn't mean giving up. It means releasing your grip on the how and trusting that the universe knows the best path forward. I want you to do something specific right now. Think about an area of your life where you've been struggling, where you've been trying to force something to happen through sheer willpower. Now, imagine what it would feel like to release that struggle, to trust that the solution is already on its way to you. Notice the sensation in your body when you imagine letting go. For most people, there's an immediate sense of relief, a softening, a feeling of spaciousness. That feeling is what alignment feels like. When you're in alignment, you're not pushing against reality, you're flowing with it. And when you're flowing with reality, the universe can move through you and for you with far greater ease. Another critical element of preparation is gratitude. Gratitude is not just a nice spiritual practice. It's a powerful technology for shifting your energetic frequency. When you feel genuine gratitude, you're vibrating at a frequency that matches abundance. The universe responds to like frequencies. If you're vibrating at the frequency of lack, of struggle, of resentment, you'll continue to attract experiences that match that frequency. But when you shift into gratitude, even before the blessing arrives, you're essentially tuning your radio to the station where blessings broadcast. You're making yourself a match for what you want to receive. Here's a practice I want you to start immediately and continue through March 16 and beyond. Every morning when you wake up, before you check your phone or start thinking about your to-do list, spend 3 minutes in gratitude. Think of 3 specific things you're grateful for, and really feel the gratitude in your body. Don't just think the words, feel the emotion. Let it fill your chest. Let it bring a smile to your face. This simple practice will shift your baseline frequency in ways that will astonish you. And here's the key. Include gratitude for the blessing that's coming, even though it hasn't arrived yet. Thank the universe for the secret benefactor who is already on their way to you. This is not fake positivity. This is you aligning with the reality that's forming, pulling it toward you through the magnetic force of your gratitude. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. Some of you are thinking, I've heard promises like this before, and nothing happened. Why should this time be different? This is a valid question, and I'm going to give you an honest answer. The difference is not in the cosmic timing alone, though that is significant. The difference is in your level of conscious participation. Most people approach spiritual teachings passively. They listen, they nod, they think it sounds nice, and then they go back to their regular patterns of thinking and behaving. They don't actually change anything. They don't clear space. They don't shift their frequency. They don't take aligned action. And then they wonder why nothing changes. The secret benefactor is not a magic wand that bypasses the laws of cause and effect. It's a cosmic amplifier that magnifies the energy you're already putting out. If you're putting out the energy of doubt, of unworthiness, of closed-off skepticism, that's what gets amplified. But if you're putting out the energy of openness, of readiness, of trust, that's what gets amplified. The universe is not withholding blessings from you. You are the gatekeeper of your own reality. The cosmic alignment on March 16 is creating an unusually powerful opportunity. But you still have to open the door when the opportunity knocks. Let me tell you about a woman I'll call Sarah. Sarah came to me 2 years ago, completely burned out from her corporate job. She knew she was meant to do something more meaningful with her life, but she had no idea what that was, and she was terrified of leaving the security of her paycheck during a cosmic window similar to tomorrow's. I told her that a secret benefactor was coming, that an opportunity would present itself that would allow her to transition into her true calling. She was excited at first, but as days passed and nothing obvious happened, she started to doubt. Then, about a week after the alignment, her company announced layoffs. Sarah was devastated. She thought this was the opposite of a blessing. But here's what she didn't see in that moment. The severance package she received gave her 6 months of her runway. During those 6 months, she started a blog about sustainable living, something she'd been passionate about for years but never had time to pursue. The blog grew rapidly. Within a year, she had sponsorships, speaking engagements, and a book deal. The layoff that seemed like a disaster was actually the secret benefactor pushing her out of a situation that was keeping her stuck and into the life she was meant to live. This is why rust is so essential. The secret benefactor doesn't always arrive wrapped in pretty paper with a bow on top. Sometimes it arrives disguised as a challenge, a disruption, or even a loss. But if you can trust the process, if you can stay open and look for the hidden gift, you'll find it every single time. The universe is not random. It's not chaotic. It operates according to laws that are sophisticated than our conscious minds can fully grasp. But your soul understands these laws. Your intuition knows how to read the signs. When you learn to trust that deeper knowing, you stop being a victim of circumstance and become a conscious co-creator of your reality. There's another dimension to this that I need to address, and it has to do with worthiness. Many people unconsciously block their blessings because deep down, they don't believe they deserve them. This is often rooted in childhood experiences, religious conditioning, or past failures that created a belief that good things don't happen to people like them. If you recognize this pattern in yourself, I want you to hear this clearly. You are worthy of receiving help. You are worthy of abundance. You are worthy of having your life transformed for the better. Your worthiness is not something you have to earn through suffering or perfect behavior. It's your birthright as a conscious being in this universe. The cosmos doesn't play favorites. It doesn't decide that some people deserve blessings and others don't. It responds to frequency, to openness, to alignment, and those are things you can cultivate regardless of your past. If you struggle with worthiness, here's a practice that can help. Every time you notice yourself thinking, I don't deserve this, or good things don't happen to me, stop and reframe it. Say instead, I am worthy of receiving all the good the universe has to offer. I am open to blessings in expected and unexpected forms. At first, this might feel like you're lying to yourself. That's okay. You're not trying to convince yourself of something false. You're reminding yourself of a truth that your conditioning has obscured. The more you practice this reframe, the more your subconscious mind will begin to accept it as reality. And as your internal reality shifts, your external reality will shift to match it. Let's talk about timing, because this is something that confuses many people. Why March 16 specifically? Why not yesterday or next month? The answer lies in the nature of cosmic cycles. The universe operates in rhythms, in waves of energy that build, peak, and recede. Astrological alignments are not arbitrary. They represent moments when these waves converge in ways that create amplified potential. Think of it like the tides. The ocean is always there, but there are specific times when the tide is high, when the water reaches further up the shore than it does at other times. Cosmic alignments are like high tides of possibility. The potential for transformation is always present, but during these windows, it's dramatically increased. March 16 represents the peak of a wave that's been building for weeks. The energy has been gathering, intensifying, and tomorrow it reaches its maximum potency. This doesn't mean that if you miss tomorrow, you've lost your chance forever. The energy will remain elevated for several days after the exact alignment. But the closer you are to the peak moment, the more powerful the effect. This is why awareness of the timing matters. When you know that a cosmic high tide is occurring, you can position yourself to receive the full force of that wave. You can be standing on the shore with your arms open rather than inland, wondering why nothing is reaching you. I need to continue from where the second round ended and write the final third of the script, maintaining the same tone and style while bringing the narrative to a powerful conclusion. Here's the continuation. Now I want to share with you the most practical aspect of this entire cosmic event, because understanding the energy is one thing, but knowing exactly what to do with it is what creates real transformation. Between now and March 16, and for several days after, you are living in what I call the manifestation corridor. This is a period when the normal rules of cause and effect become more fluid, when the time between intention and manifestation compresses dramatically. What might normally take months to unfold can happen in days or even hours during this window. Here's what I want you to do starting right now. Get clear on what you actually want, not what you think you should want, not what other people expect you to want, but what your soul genuinely desires. This clarity is essential because the universe responds to specificity. Vague wishes produce vague results. When you can articulate exactly what you're calling in, you create a clear channel for that energy to flow through. Write it down. Don't just think about it. The act of writing engages a different part of your brain and makes the intention more concrete. Describe not just what you want, but how you want to feel when you have it. The feeling is actually more important than the specific form because the universe often delivers the essence of what we desire in ways we couldn't have imagined. Let me give you an example of how this works. I once worked with a man who was desperate to find a new job. He had been unemployed for 8 months and was running out of savings. He came to me during a cosmic window and asked him to get specific about what he really wanted. At first, he just said he wanted a job, any job that would pay his bills. But when I pushed him to go deeper, he realized what he actually wanted was to feel valued for his skills, to work with people who respected him, to have flexibility in his schedule so he could spend time with his aging parents, and to make enough money to feel secure without having to work 70 hours a week. Once he got clear on those core desires, everything shifted. Within 2 weeks, he received a job offer that checked every single box, but it came from a completely unexpected source. A former colleague he hadn't spoken to in 5 years randomly reached out, having heard through the grapevine that he was looking for work. The position hadn't even been advertised yet. This is the secret benefactor in action, arriving through channels that bypass normal job search methods entirely. The second thing you need to do is take aligned action. This is where many people get confused. They think that if the universe is going to send help, they should just sit back and wait for it to arrive. But that's not how cosmic co-creation works. The universe meets you halfway. It responds to movement. When you take action that aligns with your intention, even small action, you're sending a signal that you're serious, that you're ready, that you're willing to participate in your own transformation. The action doesn't have to be big or dramatic. It just has to be genuine and aligned with where you want to go. If you're calling in a romantic relationship, the aligned action might be updating your dating profile, saying yes to a social invitation you'd normally decline, or simply making yourself more available to meet new people. If you're calling in a career opportunity, it might be updating your resume, reaching out to someone in your network, or taking a course that builds a skill you need. If you're calling in financial abundance, it might be organizing your finances, researching investment opportunities, or clearing out old possessions you no longer need. The specific action matters less than the energy behind it. You're demonstrating to the universe that you're ready to receive by making space and taking steps in the direction of your desire. Here's something crucial that most people miss. The secret benefactor often arrives through what appears to be ordinary channels. It's not usually a stranger knocking on your door with a suitcase full of money. It's more likely to be a conversation that leads to an introduction, that leads to an opportunity. It's a chance encounter that doesn't seem significant in the moment, but turns out to be pivotal. This is why you need to pay attention to everything that happens around March 16. Don't dismiss small synchronicities or seemingly minor events. The universe speaks in whispers before it shouts. The person who sits next to you on the bus. The email that lands in your inbox. The friend who suddenly reaches out after months of silence. Any of these could be the secret benefactor in disguise. I want to tell you about a woman named Maria who experienced this firsthand. Maria had been trying to sell her house for over a year with no success. She needed to relocate for family reasons, but the house just wouldn't sell despite multiple price reductions. She was stressed, frustrated, and beginning to panic about her financial situation. Then, during a Venus-Jupiter alignment, she decided to take a walk in her neighborhood to clear her head. She wasn't looking for anything, just trying to reduce her anxiety. During that walk, she struck up a casual conversation with a neighbor she'd never really talked to before. They chatted about the neighborhood, the weather, nothing particularly meaningful. But at the end of the conversation, the neighbor mentioned that her daughter was moving to the area and looking for a house. Within a week, Maria had a buyer. The sale went through smoothly, and she was able to relocate on her timeline. The secret benefactor was literally living 3 doors down the entire time. But it took a cosmic alignment and Maria's willingness to be open and present for that connection to be made. This brings me to another critical point about receptivity. You have to be present. You have to be paying attention. In our modern world, most people are so distracted by their phones, their thoughts, their worries about the past and future, that they miss what's happening right in front of them. The secret benefactor could walk right past you, and you wouldn't notice because you're scrolling through social media or lost in your own mental chatter. This is why practices like meditation, midnifoisms, and simply being present in your body are so valuable during cosmic windows. They increase your sensitivity to the subtle signals and synchronicities that are constantly occurring around you. Starting today and continuing through March 16 and beyond, I want you to practice what I call conscious presence. Several times throughout each day, stop whatever you're doing and take 3 deep breaths. Feel your feet on the ground. Notice what's around you. Listen to the sounds in your environment. This simple practice pulls you out of autopilot mode into awareness. And it's in that state of awareness that you're most likely to recognize the secret benefactor when they appear. You're most likely to notice the opportunity, to feel the intuitive nudge, to be in the right place at the right time. Let's talk about something that might be making you uncomfortable right now. Fear. Many people, when they sense that a major change is approaching, experience fear alongside their excitement. This is completely normal. Your ego, the part of you that's invested in keeping things predictable and safe, gets nervous when transformation is imminent. It starts throwing up objections. What if this doesn't work out? What if I'm disappointed again? What if I'm not ready? What if I make the wrong choice? These fears are not signs that you should pull back. They're actually signs that you're on the threshold of something significant. The ego only gets loud when real change is possible. Here's what I want you to understand about fear. It's not your enemy. It's information. Fear tells you that you're about to step outside your comfort zone, which is exactly where growth happens. Every person who has ever achieved something meaningful has had to move through fear to get there. The difference between people who transform their lives and people who stay stuck is not the absence of fear. It's the willingness to act despite the fear. When the secret benefactor arrives, when the opportunity presents itself, you might feel scared. You might feel unqualified or unprepared. Do it anyway. Take the meeting. Have the conversation. Say yes to the invitation. The universe doesn't wait for you to feel completely ready. It presents opportunities when you're ready enough, and then it supports you as you grow into them. I want to share one more story that illustrates this perfectly. A man called David had been working a corporate job he hated for 15 years. He had a passion for woodworking and dreamed of starting his own custom furniture business. But he was terrified of leaving the security of his steady paycheck. During a cosmic alignment, he received an unexpected call from a former client who had seen some furniture pieces David had made as a hobby. This person wanted to commission a large project and was willing to pay a substantial amount up front. David's immediate reaction was fear. He thought about all the reasons he couldn't do it. He didn't have a proper workshop. He didn't have business insurance. He'd never managed a project that large. His mind generated 100 objections in about 30 seconds. But something in him, his intuition, his soul, whatever you want to call it, knew this was the moment he'd been waiting for. So despite his fear, despite all the logical reasons to say no, he said yes. He figured out the logistics as he went. He rented workshop space. He got the insurance. He learned what he needed to learn. That one project led to another, and then another. Within 2 years, he had left his corporate job and was running a successful custom furniture business. He told me later that the scariest moment was saying yes to that first opportunity. But it was also the moment his entire life changed direction. The secret benefactor had arrived, but David had to have the courage to receive the gift. This is what I mean when I say you have to participate in your own transformation. The cosmic forces create the opportunity, but you have to walk through the door. And sometimes walking through that door requires courage, faith, and a willingness to be uncomfortable for a while as you grow into your new reality. The universe is not going to force you. It's going to present the opportunity and then wait to see what you do with it. Your free will is always respected. But I can tell you from years of observing these patterns that the people who say yes, who take the leap, who trust the process, are the ones whose lives transform in ways that seem almost miraculous to outside observers. Now, as we approach the conclusion of this message, I want to leave you with a framework for understanding what's about to unfold. Think of March 16 as a cosmic doorway. On one side of that doorway is your current reality, with all its limitations, struggles, and familiar patterns. On the other side is a new reality, one where the help you need has arrived, where obstacles have been removed, where your path forward is clearer and more supported than it's been in a long time. The doorway is opening tomorrow, and it will remain open for several days. But you have to choose to walk through it. You have to choose to believe that something better is possible. You have to choose to release your grip on how you think things should unfold and trust that the universe has a plan that's better than anything you could have orchestrated on your own. This is not about blind faith or naive optimism. This is about recognizing that you are part of a larger intelligence, a cosmic order that is always working toward growth, evolution, and the highest good of all beings. When you align yourself with that intelligence, when you stop fighting against the current and start flowing with it, life becomes easier, not because challenges disappear, but because you have support, you have guidance, you have a secret benefactor working on your behalf, arranging circumstances,